So I was just looking at some of the headlines today. In the Sun's goals pull-out, McTom, Dallow's Scott's double is a turning point. Is that going to be the case? Manchester United, are they on the right road? Those 2 goals in the last 7 minutes of injury time, have they changed the course of Manchester United's season? A season which has probably started as bad as it has done since the end of the 80s.
Well, we won't know until after the international break. They've got Sheffield United away, live on TalkSPORT. I've seen Sheffield United a few times. That's a game that United simply have to win. Then they've got Copenhagen in the Champions League. I'm going to be at that game. And again, they have to win if they've got any chance of reaching the knockout stages. And then it's the Manchester derby. So I think we'll be in a better position to judge if it was a turning point, or as Perry Groves has suggested, simply papering the cracks after those 3 games. I mean, Martin's hammering Dallow a little bit for saying it will be the turning point. If you're asked by a reporter after a game, is this the turning point? He's not going to say no, is he?
The thing is, how do you know that?
Well,
you having a go at the journalist now?
No, I'm not having a go at the journalist.
So you think a journalist has somehow put those words into his mouth?
He's poacher turned gamekeeper now,
Correct.
Martin. Can you believe this?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
You made money doing this over the last 20 years. You're a newspaper journalist for a long time.
A young newspaper journalist.
And now you're having a go.
But if you're asked that question and you're Dallow, you can't say, well, no, we're still in crisis.
What headline would you have run?
No, but it's the same headline.
Yeah, exactly. So why are you having
But the answer's fine.
So you're saying the player didn't say it then? He was actually provoked into saying it?
No, I'm saying the player has said what he needs to say. Whether he truly believes it or not, again, we'll find out in the fullness of time.
Well, he should believe it because his manager feels the same. This is what he's had to say.
In football, it's eaten or you get eaten. And too many times in the first start of the season, we got eaten by opponents who are more hungry. And that can't be. And it has to go away. And every player has, on every second he's on the pitch, he has to deliver that. And that is a demand and a standard. And when you do that, we have seen last season, then you get a determined team. And we were not always determined on every occasion in games. And you get hammered for it. And we didn't allow them one shot. And I think we had some opportunities. And then same story again. We concede a goal. We make, I think, on the decisive moment, totally the wrong decision. 2-3 players. We starting without VI formation, and then we easy giveaway, and it sums up a little bit our season. Such easy giveaways, you get punished. Top football, and we have 2 good players to act like this. So this has to be a turning point, but also it has to be a restart because we have to get into higher levels.
It has to be a restart. It has to be a turning point. He also went on to say, and I wrote this quote down from the weekend, these games can be fuel to the dressing room. So he believes that this has got to be the point where the season turns. But Manchester United's history, recent history, would suggest that is not always the case.
Yeah, I like the eating analogy as well, because obviously Manchester United have been used to dining at the top table. They're not doing that at the moment. They're feeding on scraps, to be honest. But I get where he's coming from.
Are their bellies too full, do you think?
Maybe in the case of some players.
Is there enough hunger and desire there?
No, there hasn't been.
I mean,
can
you tell me? I mean, I assume you're a Manchester United fan. You've got that look about you, the way you're looking at me. Have you seen anything that convinced you at Old Trafford this season that they've turned a corner?
No, I've seen.
Let's go back to the Wolves game. They
ran
riot, didn't they?
Yeah,
2-0 down against Forest.
They've
lost the next 2 home games, Palace, Brighton. And now here we are again, where it looks like, I mean, Brentford are always going to go there, try and grab a goal and sit deep.
Yeah, I guess if you're looking on the positive side, and I try and be a glasses half full type man rather than half empty, they show character, and they've not shown a lot of that this season.
From the bench.
Yeah, exactly. And I mentioned it on breakfast this morning. For me, McTominay has played his way into the starting lineup. I think Maguire deserves to keep his place. I think there's a massive call now for Garnacho to come in, and maybe Rashford to be dropped to the bench.
I thought Maguire was a player I was saying that they should keep. And you were saying, no, he's done now, let's get him out.
Yeah, I agree.
So if you'd have got rid of him,
what
would have happened at the weekend?
I think he should have gone. However, I think that Palace game in the League Cup, I think his performance, I think the character that he showed, and actually has shown, having had to face a lot of difficult situations, he's the type of player that at this moment in time, Manchester United need in their starting 11. Is this the same with McTominay?
Is this the problem that Manchester United fans are going through at this moment in time? There is a sort of flip of emotions. You're desperate to sort of want to see success under Ten Hag, but you're also worried about some of the recruitment that has taken place, and you're having to lean back on some of the tried and tested to get you out of trouble.
I think that's fair. And listen, I've been a big defender of Ten Hag. I think maybe you can argue that he overachieved last season, and obviously with achievement, and it was an achievement to get back in the Champions League, won their first trophy in 6 years, comes raised expectation. At the moment, they're falling short of that expectation.
Lost 6 games.
Onana looks a poor addition. His distribution isn't great, and that's what he was recruited for. His shot stopping has been poor as well, so he's going through a very difficult start to his Manchester United career. But so did David De Gea. Let's not write him off just yet. You're a massive fan of Mason Mount. I like his energy and his work rate, but it's not worked out for him so far either. Højlund, I think, has been a positive addition. I think
not great at the weekend.
The 2 goals he scored in the Champions League against Galatasaray, 3 if you include the one that was only just offside. That was as good a Champions League home debut as you could have expected.
What about Casemiro?
So we're including
in that
goals
midfield?
that are offside now, are we?
Casemiro has been dreadful. No two ways about it. He
was at fault for the goal at
half-time.
He was taken off at half-time, and again, I think he needs a period out of the team. But it's interesting. There's always been a bit of a suspicion, I think, from Ten Hag that maybe Casemiro doesn't have the legs for the Premier League because he took a long time.
Why did they buy him
to put him in the team last season? Well, that wasn't a Ten Hag signing, was it? And most of the players that have been recruited for the manager. That was a club signing.
But he must have given the sanction.
He took a while
for that.
to put his faith in him, and I think we're maybe seeing why, because he doesn't have enough legs
it is a very,
in the Premier League.
I think the managers realise it's a very critical world, isn't it? And then on the inside, the siege mentality has to come in. They now become a group and they start to grow as a team.
Well,
I'm not really seeing it on the pitch.
That's one of the problems, actually, that they've had behind the scenes. And we've spoken to people, actually, who work at the club and sort of like trying to develop that sort of cohesive mentality of everyone in it together was something that actually helped them last season put a run of results together. You might have noticed the whole slapping of hands and stuff like that when they're keeping clean sheets or balls are deflecting behind because they're trying to build a camaraderie. They actually think that the group is quite sensitive and that if things go against them, then they're not great at reacting to it, and they're trying to build that up. The management staff are trying to build that up.
Yeah, you need character, but also you need direction on the pitch. When they came to the Emirates earlier in the season, you could see the manager wasn't happy with the way they're carrying out his team plan. Onana is in possession.
What is his tactical plan?
It's going through the keeper, isn't it? And he's trying to build them through. And what I don't like when I see most midfields, to see Casemiro sinking back. So it's a midfield player going backwards into the defence when everybody else is going the opposite way and using defenders to go into midfield. It seems like Manchester United going backwards, and there's an example of it. When they lose possession, their most tenacious player is not even in the midfield. He's sitting in the back 3. So in the end, you just take him off. And it took McTominay, who spoke well actually after the game, talked about how he'd seen the Beckham Netflix video, and he was saying about it inspired him. And you could see he looked inspired because that Manchester United is going through his veins. And it's come down to one of their own in the end.
Do you need people like that in your club?
Of course you do. Of course you do. Remember what it's all about, what the dream to play. And when your backs are up against the wall, these players come to the fore. So the decision to put him on was a good one. But they need to start games and boss games and control games, and that's gone for Manchester United right now.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. TalkSPORT.